talking today about the max lens mod for the GoPro 9 and the GoPro 10 specifically. I think there is a max lens mod for previous versions of the GoPro, but that is not what I have. It's not what I know anything about. So if that's what you're looking for, this may help, it may not. The reason I'm making this video is because I watched a lot of videos about the max lens mod, and there's a lot of them out there, but nothing that really helped me to know if I needed to get it to, or what a difference it would make. So I just decided to try, and I've just done some side-by-side footage. I took the same route, a familiar route to me on my bike. I ran it twice, once with the standard lens and one with the max lens mod. So you can judge for yourself if you need it. And honestly, I thought the difference would be more stark. I'm really happy with it, but if you don't want to get it, well, you'll watch the footage and you can be the judge of if you need it or not for what you're doing. Couple of little things. I'm not going to get into too many technical things. There's, like I said, lots of videos that you can look up in terms of settings and the best way to set up your camera for the max lens mod or for the standard lens as well. But I do want to mention, in case you haven't seen it already, that you are limited with the max lens mod to 2.7K. So if 4K footage is absolutely vital to you, then you don't want this. The video you're watching right now is probably 4K. If you look at it in YouTube, if you look at the settings, you can set it to 4K, and that's because the footage that I took with the standard lens, I did 4K because that's what I would do. So I wanted it to be kind of a fair comparison. So if you can tell any difference between the two, then great. That'll be an answer for you. So I imported the 4K footage from the standard lens, the 2.7K footage from the max lens mod, and I'm gonna spit the whole video out as 4K. So the 2.7K is just kind of upscaled, which, you know, just basically adds more frames to make it 4K, but it doesn't add real quality. So to me, 2.7 is plenty. So if you're not planning on showing your videos on, you know, an IMAX screen, it's probably going to be good. But some people are really picky about the resolution. So 4K or 5K is important to you. Max lens mod is not your thing. When I was looking at reviews for the max lens mod, most of them were very positive. One thing that came up a lot, interestingly enough, is how difficult it is to put on. And I just didn't see that. To take off the standard lens, you twist it. This comes in a nice little rubber case. You take it out. This is the max lens mod. You can see it's got a little, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it's got a little fisheye lens, which is where the magic happens. And then you just put it on and twist it till it locks, and that's it. Not terribly difficult. Maybe I have superhuman grip strength, I don't know. But not hard, in my opinion. And when you do this, you're going to want to go into the settings, and there's just a little icon you click that says Max Lens Mod. I mean, it's an icon. You click on it, and it changes the settings. When you see your little preview with this on without that, it's going to look like this weird globe bubble fisheye thing. Not the kind of footage you want. So you definitely need to tell it that you have the max lens mod. And that, of course, is going to then restrict the other settings that you can change. It's going to max you out at 2.7K resolution, for instance. Now, there's a lot of factors with your footage and the field of view that you get. One of the main reasons I wanted the GoPro 9 is because of everything I read about the image stabilization and how great it was. Now, of course, it's digital image stabilization, which is different than physical stabilization, like if you had a gimbal. If you have a gimbal, for instance, it's moving the camera around to keep it steady. With digital image stabilization, just in case you don't know how that works, it's taking a digital picture, and then it's cropping it so that it can digitally move around the picture. So you're losing a bunch of perimeter in order to get the image stabilization. And the more stable you want the image, the tighter it's going to have to crop those edges so that it can bounce around inside that image and keep it steady. So the idea behind the max lens mod is that it's going to start with a bigger canvas so that it can do all of its cool things, but still have a fairly wide field of view. So looking at the footage side by side, which I've already done and that you will be able to do soon, that's the biggest thing that I've seen is specifically the horizon leveling. It does it pretty well without the mod, but with the mod it's better. You get a little bit more around the edges, but the image stabilization and the horizon leveling is even better than without it. And again, the footage doesn't look as different as I was expecting. I was expecting this dramatic difference and so I could sit here and tell you, you absolutely need this if you want to motovlog with a GoPro 9 or 10. I can't say that. Watch the footage, see what you think. If it's something that it's worth it to you, this is $100, $70 if you have the GoPro subscription. I'm happy with it, but you can make your own decision, and here's the footage. All right, before you just watch the footage as it was filmed, I wanted to flip between a couple of frames with the standard lens and the max lens mod, so you can kind of see the types of things you'll be looking for. Now the first thing, now this is with the standard lens, and it looks just fine. It looks, it's a nice wide field of view. You can see the sky, you can see the ground, you can see a little bit of the bike. But the biggest difference between this and this, which is the max lens mod, is the horizon. You don't see a ton more area around it, though you do see more area around it, but look at how flat and even this horizon looks compared to this. Now you might not notice that so much if you're not juxtaposing them, but to me that's pretty dramatic. And beyond that, like I said, you do see a little bit more. So if we're looking at the standard lens, take a look at this little road here that you can see, this little dirt path. And then as it follows, you can kind of see this little hill to its left. If I jump to the max lens mod, you can see that same little path here and the hill, and then you have all this area over here that didn't exist. Now it's easier to see, the bike. You see, of course, the little bit of the windshield there, and then with the max lens mod, you see a little bit more. Not huge, probably not a deal breaker. On the right side, there's not a lot of, I see this little round bush, and then you see this kind of clump of bushes here. Let's look for that. Okay, so that's right there. Clump of bushes is here, so you get a little bit more over here. It's a little bit less than over here for some reason. But it is more. So you see more of everything around it, and it's more even. The horizon is flatter. Don't pay too much attention to the lighting. That I think that just has to do with the fact that I did this at 2 separate runs, and there was clouds, so sun's hitting everything a little bit different the second time around, which I had the max lens mod on. So but keep an eye out for things like that as you watch the footage. It's going to be going pretty quick. Now as you're watching the more live footage that you're going to see in just a sec, if you want to do the same thing where you would just want to flip between the scenes to see the difference and identify the the markers, you can do that on YouTube if you're on a computer. I don't know if there's an easy way to do it on a phone or a handheld device, but on a computer, if you pause it just with space or hit the pause button, if you hit the period key, which is also the greater than key, then you will go forward 1 frame. If you hit the comma key, which is also the less than key, then you will go back 1 frame. So that's a useful tip for all of YouTube, not just for this video. Okay, let's get to the footage. Okay, so that is the footage. I hope it was helpful to you. Like I said, I'm happy with this guy. I'll be using it for all my motovlogging videos. One nice thing that I didn't mention, but the case that this comes in, the thick half of it works nicely as a lens cap. So you can keep this nice and safe while you're not using it. Another thing that I should point out that would be on the con list is if you like ND filters on your lens in bright light, whatever. As far as I know, there's none that are made for this Max Lens mod. So you just get what you get. You have to adjust your settings accordingly, but you can't use the ND filters that you can with these. So keep all those things in mind, and I hope this has been helpful. Thanks for watching.